Imagine spending $600 million on a boat, not a Navy destroyer, not an aircraft carrier, a private yacht, your yacht. Now imagine looking at your designer and saying, great, now make it bulletproof, add a missile defense system, and throw in a submarine escape pod just in case things get ugly. That's not a movie pitch. That is a Tuesday afternoon for the people on this list. We're about to take you inside the most heavily fortified private vessels on planet Earth. Floating fortresses worth a combined $8 to $10 billion, armed with laser shields that fry cameras, sonic cannons that burst eardrums, and panic rooms built to survive full-scale military sieges. These aren't just yachts. These are private warships disguised as luxury hotels. And the one at number 1? It costs more to build than an actual United States Navy guided missile frigate. Let that sink in. Number 10. Polaris. We're kicking things off with the 115-meter Polaris, built by Lursen, designed by Tim Haywood, and valued at around $300 million. This thing has bounced from a Saudi national to Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich to American media titan David Geffen. That's not a chain of ownership, that's a billionaire relay race. Polaris runs a fully computerized security grid tied directly into its maneuvering systems, meaning the yacht itself can autonomously react to sudden threats or perimeter breaches. It's also got high-volume foam generators that can flood the decks and make boarding basically impossible. During the Abramovich era, reports said it carried an anti-missile system and a mine-detecting submarine. His people later claimed those reports were myths deliberately planted to scare attackers. Either way, it worked. Polaris wrote the blueprint every yacht on this list followed. Number 9. Indian Empress and Lady Mura. At number 9, a 2-for-1 that proves money doesn't always save you. The 95-meter Indian Empress was built by Ocean Co. for Qatari royalty, then scooped up for $113 million by Indian liquor baron Vijay Mallya. 15-seat cinema, Elton John's baby grand piano on deck, pure excess. But Mallya racked up massive fraud charges, abandoned the yacht, and 40 crew members owed over $1 million in unpaid wages got it seized in Malta. A court auctioned it for €43.5 million. That's a 60% haircut on a super yacht. No amount of armor protects you from your own financial collapse. On the flip side, the 105-meter Lady Mura, held for 30 years by Saudi billionaire Nasser al-Rashid, takes a completely different approach. Her security doctrine is pure self-reliance. A fully equipped medical center handling severe emergencies so the family stays at sea indefinitely without pulling into port. No hospitals, no exposure. That's not luxury, that's a survival strategy. But these two are just the appetizer because things are about to get way more intense. Number 8. Octopus. Paul Allen didn't want a Bentley on water. He wanted a Range Rover. The 126-meter Octopus, built by Lursen, is a 10,000 gross ton exploration beast with an ice-class steel hull that smashes through polar sea ice. Most yachts avoid icebergs. This one eats them for breakfast. Pop open the transom door and you find a 36-meter internal wet dock, basically a Bond villain hangar hidden inside the hull. Inside, a 10-seater deep-sea submarine and a remotely operated vehicle rated to dive 2,700 meters, nearly 9,000 feet straight down. If things go sideways on the surface, you disappear into the deep ocean. Nobody's following. Octopus also carries a full medical suite with a hyperbaric chamber and 2 helicopters in an internal hangar for aerial evacuation from anywhere on Earth. Allen sold it for about $325 million. That's roughly 800 average American homes, just for a boat that can outrun a glacier. Number 7. Scheherazade. Now we enter state-level paranoia. The 142-meter Scheherazade, built by Lursen and valued at $700 million, is widely reported to be connected to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Inside, you'll find a self-leveling pool table and bathrooms decked out in solid gold fixtures. Normal faucets are apparently for peasants. The real story is security. Scheherazade carries a specialized drone neutralization system that electronically jams and shoots down any UAV that tries to penetrate its airspace. And the crew? Investigations revealed they weren't private contractors. They were active duty officers from Russia's Federal Guard Service, the FSO, the exact same elite unit protecting the Russian president. This wasn't a yacht. It was a Russian government outpost disguised as a pleasure cruise. It's now impounded in Italy. $700 million just sitting there collecting barnacles. Turns out the one threat these ships can't outrun is an international arrest warrant. Mid-roll tease. We're only halfway through, and we've already seen submarines, sonic guns, and a yacht crewed by Russian intelligence agents. But hold on to your wallets because the top 6 make everything so far look like a fishing boat with a security camera. The next yacht has 44mm bomb-proof glass and biometric fingerprint scanners on every door. Let's go. Number 6. Motor yacht. A. If a stealth submarine and a super yacht had a baby, it would look exactly like Motor Yacht A. Designed by Philippe Starck for Russian billionaire Andrei Melnichenko, worth over $19 billion, this 119-meter ship has divided the yachting world. Some call it a masterpiece. Others call it the ugliest boat ever built. But its internal security is universally terrifying. Those massive windows wrapping around the master suite, 44mm bomb-proof glass, almost 2 inches thick, designed to withstand close-range explosions and sustained automatic weapons fire. A K-47's not a problem. Inside, biometric fingerprint scanners and keypad systems lock down every restricted zone. Even if boarders breach the hull, they're trapped in compartmentalized areas, completely locked out of the owner's quarters and the bridge. Over 40 Bosch motion-sensing cameras feed into an integrated bridge system tracking every tender and vessel within range. And if all else fails, a rumored escape pod is built right into the keel. Number 5. Dilbar. By raw gross tonnage, the 156-meter Dilbar is the most massive private yacht on Earth, almost 16,000 gross tons, built by Lursen for Russian oligarch Alisher Usmanov, who named it after his mother. Dilbar costs $60 million a year to operate. That's $164,000 every single day. Your average American makes about 60 grand in a year. Dilbar burns through that in roughly 9 hours. It carries advanced electronic warfare capabilities with anti-drone detection arrays, bulletproof glass throughout the staterooms, 96 crew, 2 helipads, and a 180,000-gallon swimming pool, the largest ever put on a yacht. But in 2022, German authorities seized it after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. All that electronic warfare, completely useless against a government with a warrant. Now the Germans are stuck paying $60 million a year just to keep the engines from rotting at the dock. That's the most expensive parking job in history. Number 4, AL said. The 155-meter Al Sayed doesn't need hidden missile systems or laser shields. You know why? Because it travels with its own navy. Commissioned by the late Sultan Qaboos of Oman and now owned by his successor, this $400 to $600 million Lursen flagship operates under the paramilitary escort doctrine. Al Sayed never sails alone. Its backup is a 164-meter support vessel, the Fulk Al Salama, capable of deploying 240 armed Omani troops at a moment's notice. That's not a support boat, that's a floating barracks. When transiting high-risk waters like the Gulf of Aden, it picks up an official Omani Navy escort, including Province-class fast attack boats armed with Exocet anti-ship missiles and 76mm cannons. Anyone approaching uninvited has to first engage and defeat an actual military strike group. That's not yacht security, that's a declaration of sovereignty. Number 3. Radiant. The 110-meter Radiant has the greatest origin story on this entire list. It was born out of pure spite. Russian media tycoon Boris Berezovsky commissioned this Lursen build with one demand: make a yacht that could outclass the security on his bitter rival Abramovich's Polaris, a $300 million ship built entirely out of petty billionaire rivalry. You can't make this up. Berezovsky eventually sold the unfinished project to Emirati billionaire Abdullah Al-Futtaim, who inherited possibly the most offensively armed private vessel ever built. Where most yachts play defense, Radiant goes full offense. Long-range acoustic devices, basically sonic cannons, fire tightly focused low-frequency sound waves that permanently burst the eardrums of approaching attackers. A military-grade water cannon can flood, capsize, and completely sink a hostile boat from over 100 yards away. And if all that fails, Berezovsky had them install a bespoke escape launch with twin turbocharged diesel engines exceeding 75 knots, about 86 miles per hour on open water. Good luck catching that in a rubber dinghy. Number 2. Serene. Originally built for Russian vodka tycoon Yuri Shefler, the 133-meter Serene was purchased by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia for an estimated €500 million. It features an indoor climbing wall, a saltwater swimming pool, an underwater viewing room, and at one point it housed Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, the most expensive artwork ever sold at auction. $450 million of Renaissance masterpiece just chilling on a boat. As the floating home of one of the most powerful political figures on the planet, security is absolute. Serene carries military-grade missile detection, advanced laser systems that actively disrupt camera lenses to prevent espionage, heavily reinforced safe rooms with bulletproof glass, and an internal submarine for covert deep-water evacuation. But even $500 million in fortifications can't save you from human error. In 2017, a navigation mistake ran Serene aground on a rock reef in the Red Sea. Billions in missile defense and laser shields, defeated by a rock. The ocean doesn't care how rich you are. Number 1. Eclipse. And here it is, the absolute king. The 162-meter Eclipse, the most famous militarized superyacht in human history. Built by Blohm plus Voss in Hamburg, the same shipyard that constructed the World War II battleship Bismarck, commissioned by Roman Abramovich with one directive: overshadow every private vessel in existence while providing absolute military-grade protection. The price tag? Up to $1.5 billion. That's roughly what the US Navy pays for a Constellation-class guided missile frigate. One man's pleasure yacht costs the same as a nuclear-era warship. Convert that to homes at $400,000 each, and you could buy 3,750 houses, an entire town, just for one guy's boat. Eclipse runs a full missile defense system using radar warning receivers that detect incoming anti-ship missiles and automatically deploy chaff dispensers and infrared decoys to confuse guidance systems. Same technology on naval destroyers. Then there's the laser shield, an automated infrared array that sweeps the perimeter hunting for digital camera sensors. The second it detects a lens, it fires focused white light directly into the aperture, frying every photo. The one weakness? Old-fashioned analog film cameras. If you want a shot of Eclipse, bring your grandma's 1985 Kodak. The master suite is encased in bomb-proof glass with armor plating welded into the superstructure. And when everything else fails, Abramovich boards a 3-person submarine inside an internal wet dock, launches through the keel, dives to 50 meters, and disappears beneath the surface without a trace. 70 crew members, €50 million a year in operating costs, 1 ton of diesel per day just for air conditioning to protect the art collection and keep the lasers functional, 1 ton per day just for AC. That's not a yacht budget, that's a small country's energy bill. The real cost of floating warfare. So why do billionaires spend this kind of money to turn yachts into warships? Because a billionaire 100 miles offshore is completely alone, no jurisdiction, no police backup, no laws, and the industry feeding that paranoia is enormous. Mars Group builds AI-driven anti-drone systems with their NIDAR platform, creating a 360-degree detection dome tracking over 1,000 objects at once, $4 million just for the install. Marine Armor Systems locks down entire vessels behind ballistic steel bulkheads in under 10 seconds, and Trasco Bremen uses bulletproof glass rated to stop concentrated AK-47 fire, running $400 to $600,000 for basic pilot house protection that adds 10,000 pounds of dead weight. The armed guards? They don't even sleep on the main yacht. They trail behind in heavily armed chase boats, keeping the reality of violence physically separated from the deck where the billionaire sips champagne, because nothing ruins a sunset cocktail quite like a mercenary cleaning his rifle at the next table.